Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 4, I believe. Part 3 or 4 of the Perfect Grade Wing Gundam full build. Now, today we're going to be working on the waist unit. So, the runners that we will need are the B runner, the U runner, the T runner, the M runner, the A runner, the K runner, the Q runner, the two I runners, the P runner, and bags number 1, 7, 5, the LED bag, and the wire bag as well. So I hope I have all of those. If I don't, then I'll search for them later. Okay, so the first step that they don't even tell you about that I went ahead and did was I pre-cut all the wires to all the lengths that I will need, and I also pre-stripped every single wire. So even though I'm only going to be using 2 wires in this step, I have all of them ready to go, and that'll just make it a little bit simpler. And these wire cutters were actually too big for this Gundam, so I had to strip the wires by hand, which was a bit of a difficult thing to do. So I'm going to put these 2 wires off to the side. And also, one thing that you will need to get is 2 batteries. Doesn't necessarily have to be this brand, but basically the battery has to be an LR43 or an equivalent of it. I happen to find an equivalent of them, so I have both of them here. And this is to test the LED later on. And also to put into the Gundam, because I will be opening these up. I will wait a minute to do that. But batteries are not included in this Gundam. If you need the battery, remember the type is LR43 or an equivalent such as Duracell 301/386 is an equivalent of the LR43. Look up equivalents in your area. or in your region. Now, on to the actual not technical part of this build, is snapping the parts together. And wrong one. This one. This one. This one. This one. Okay, so these are all the parts for one half of this step. So, it looks like it has it with this part right here facing towards you, which in this case is this way for me. And we'll put this little poly cap right here into here. Just that groove will go here. It'll just look something like this. Actually, this part is facing away from us. So I'm just looking here. So what it says to do first is to put it right onto that poly cap. With that, you can see that ball joint there forms. And then we'll take this white part here and just follow the instructions, how it has this part facing inwards. And we'll stick this right on here, just like that. And then we'll take this last part right here and just close it completely up. So that's what it's going to look like at the front and at the back. Now we're going to repeat that process again. The reason that I didn't do this part before is because of how basically it would already show half of the Gundam. So again, poly cap in, stick this part onto the poly cap, take this white part, go into the back, and finally we'll close it all up. Now we'll move to this back part here, and so with this part facing towards us, well, towards you, this part right here towards you, we'll put this right in that hole, right in that top hole, so then it'll look something like this. And then we're just going to take this other half and very simply just close it completely up. So now it looks like this. So this is every single part that you'll need for this second part. And so using this angle as a guide, so this one, we'll go with this one because the angle. And just on the center two, just have to line them up. So then that's what it looks like. This is a before one, and that's after. So it's just those center two little pegs. There we go. So then it looks just like this. Now, we're going to bring this whole contraption back, but we're going to bend it up. Well, it's actually jointed up. Then we're going to take this massive part here and line up. There's one peg, there's two with the notches right here and up here. So we're just going to slide that all together like this. And then I'm just going to use the rest of those pegs on that part and line them up with the pegs here. So you can see there's the pegs, and we're just going to snap it on in there. So that's pretty well the skirt done. Okay. Now we're going to put this off to the side for a moment. Okay, so now we're getting into a lot more metal parts. So the first step is to actually just line these two up and stick them together so then they look like that. Simple. Now here's the fun part. I'm going to use this part here as an example. That's the main one. So it looks like it has the shorter half. You can't really see it that well. LED bag. You can see how one of them is my thumb's right over the ball joint, so you can see how one of them is a little bit shorter than the other one, the other end. So we're going to take that short end and we're going to put it right on that ball joint there for now. You can see right right here. Yeah, right there. There's a little ball joint socket there. And I'm going to, let me make sure that's right side out. This part will go right in the middle here. So I'm just going to leave that off to the side for a moment. And then using these two holes right by my thumb there, I'm going to stick it on to, there's two little pegs sitting in right where my thumb is, but you can see a little cutout. So I'm going to stick that right there. Okay, so now I'm going to actually have to pick this up for a moment here. Yes, so then no, they're both the exact same size for that piece I was showing you earlier. I'm going to try and screw this together right now. Let me just make just making sure that this is the right one. I'm actually just going to screw everything together here. Also being careful not to strip any of the screws as well, because if you ever need to do, say something happens and this falls or something like that and you need to do repairs. Jeez, that seems really tight for some reason. me right now, I'm actually going to come on. Oh, that'll snap. Alright, so I made it snug on this top part here. I really hope that it won't affect too much, that it's not. But basically I've made it so then it will hold if there's weight. But if I want to move it, it will move. And the legs are just fine the way they are. Because the legs have a whole bunch of other points and stuff that they rely on. I'm just going to look ahead really quickly here. I'm not sure if this part needs to be I just loosened it up, to tightened it just a touch, just so that it's not as bad. Okay, so this is what you'll basically be looking at, is a really heavy waist core, basically, is what this will be. Now, so with the plastic part facing you, I'm actually going to stick on this little plastic part here first. Just want to make sure that it's the right way around. Yes. And then we'll need 2 more metal parts and 2 more nuts and screws. Now, I know it's really hard to see, but if you look at each one, these parts here, they will have an L or an R. These ones have the R on them. And that's what this is calling for here. so these two parts will just go right over the top. This little end joint there. So it'll look something like this. So I'm actually holding the two of them together. And I'm just over the ball joint. I'm just going to screw these together. And also, there's a little peg on the back of them that you can't really see, but I'll show you on the next one. There's a little peg that will actually hold the plastic part and the two metal pieces together. As you can hear there, sorry about that, but yes, these are 100% metal. You want to know what? I'm actually going to just do the next step at the exact same time, just because of how fiddly this is all being. So we're going to take this little piece right here, and we're going to put it right into that hole there. So I completely dropped it, but I saw where it went. And we're also going to take this part right here. See, that's where the little nub will go that I'll show you in a minute here. But what I'm doing is I'm actually going to stick that little piece into a hole right where it is right now. And I'm going to put this all now. This will be a little bit finicky. I don't think I have them on the right spot here, so I'm just going to just loosen up both of the screws just a hair and let gravity decide about how it wants to sit. So I have done this wrong because it is not fitting together at all right now. So what I'm just going to do is just completely restart this part over again. But this time, more using gravity. To hold them up higher. You see, this is more of what it should look like, with it just peeking up a little bit. So now I'm going to replace that little part that decided to fly off. This time I'm actually already have them both almost in place. Just going to try and slide it. Okay, so sorry about that, but this part was being a little bit of a pain. So let me just grab these two here really quickly. I'll explain try to explain what happened. So, with these ones, there's a flat side, and then there's this side, the less flat area on top. So I put it in backwards. So this thin side edge side was facing outwards, and this part was facing towards inside. So I was hitting the peg right there. Right by my finger here. So I was hitting that peg with that little thing here. So it was just popping it out all the time. And also, well, I have these two here. You can kind of see that ridge there. It's kind of right by my finger here. That will fit into right there. That fits into there, and once you're done that, so then you end up like this. As you can see, it does move out quite a bit. They don't really go inward, which is interesting, but basically I'm just going to quickly do it on the other side here. Okay. So as you just saw, it's pretty. Once you get it right and read the instructions properly, it is pretty easy. Okay, so now we're going to have this like this. And I'll just slide. So basically I just slotted it in here. There's a little peg on the top. That just slid right into there. There we go. Now we're going to put this off to the side for a moment. And this is the part where we're going to be using wires. Wires and electricity. Before. Beautiful. Okay, so I have the batteries here, and I'm just gonna okay. So I'm gonna grab 2 of these wires. Now I'm going to take this part here and making sure this LED, there's a really the short one here and a long one here. I'm going to make the short one on top. It'll look like this. Now, need to 1 second here. I'm just trying to get a screw. So one screw will go in where it is, and then one will go right up above it. Just trying to get this all trying to Hmm.
Okay, let me see.
Okay, so I think I have it. I'm just pushing the wires into the hole a little bit better. Ta-da! Okay. So you can kind of see that I had to wrap the wire around the screw and then try and screw it in the best I could. And then basically hoping that it would work. Just Alright, so the black wire is going up to the top one, and this gray one is going to the bottom one. So it'll look like this. We'll put it to the side until the next part where we'll need it again. Okay. See why people don't like it so much. Okay. So I'm going to put this little white piece into this very unique part right here. Just sits. So it'll sit like this. So the two white bottom pegs are sticking out, with the rest of it on the inside to give it more rigidity. And we'll just stick this whole thing right on top. So it'll look like this. And we'll put these two side armor pieces on as well. So this part will slide underneath and hook onto that peg that's sitting there just underneath all the armor. Let me see here. But Alright, so it does take a little bit of fiddling, but it will go underneath. And I think that's got it there. Now we'll do the other side here. So you just gotta kind of fiddle with it a little bit. And then there's pegs and holes that slide together to create a nice seal. And that's pretty well the waist unit minus this and the two side armor pieces. But because we're right here, I'm gonna do this in anticipation of the next part, which will be coming out hopefully soon. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with all your friends. And until next time, remember to rock on.